Alrighty, welcome back. For me, it's only been 20 minutes since the last lesson. For you guys, it'll be 24 hours. So, let's get started. Law of cosines. So, some of you guys might be like, where are the ratios? Like sine. I hate to break it to you, but the law of cosines is entirely different. Or then, if there were a ratio, it'd be law of sines again. I'm kidding. I don't know that. But you recognize the first half. Some of you guys might be screaming at me, Pythagorean theorem. Trust me, I can't hear you guys scream through your computer. So, I mean, you can keep trying. Maybe one of these days. But first half, Pythagorean theorem. What's the second half? Once again, the second half is because this isn't a right triangle. Since it's not a right triangle, there are mathematicians who created the second half that you had to subtract when you do c squared equals a squared plus b squared. You have to subtract 2ab cosine of c to get c squared. And then, if we look at the examples, we are given a missing length, side length, like normal. We have the angle, but we only have one angle this time. On the other problem, we have the similar scenario. We either had two side lengths and one angle, or we had two angles and one side length. But here, we have one angle, two side lengths, but we're trying to find another side length. That's why we use law of cosines. If we're trying to find angle of B, then we'd use law of sine. I really hope I didn't say law of sines to describe law of cosine. I might have, and I apologize for my mistake if I have. I'll know when I'm reviewing the video, unfortunately. So, yeah, we're going to use law of cosine because we're trying to find the third side length, but we're only given one angle. We can't use 180 minus, we can't use triangle sum theorem. It won't work. And then it goes through and it shows you how to solve for the missing a. A squared equals b squared plus c squared, because it doesn't matter, because the only thing that change are cosine of a and then bc. So your cosine is going to match what's out here. B and c are going to be used in place of a and b, because on the right hand side it's b squared plus c squared. And then you go through, you do the math, and you get 20.87. And I will go through it. We'll go through these example problems so you know what you're doing. And on this one, we have three side lengths. Oops, got stuck to my fingers. That's what happens when they get clammy. We have three side lengths, but we have no angle. And it's asking us to find measure of angle A. So we're going to go with a squared again, because that's why we're trying to find the missing angle of A. So we have to use a squared on the left-hand side. The isolated side length has to be a squared. And then they went through, they got down here, cosine of A equals 736 divided by 874. What do? We can take the inverse of cosine to solve it, or we can give up. I'm kidding, don't give up. I mean, you are in your room, so no one would know. But don't do that. You guys want to pass this quarter. All right, let's do example A. I really should not have done this after working out. Really, back is starting to seize up. But I will push through. Let's go. What do we have? What are we trying to solve for here? X, right? So I'm going to immediately, without looking, x squared equals, I have two other side lengths. It's going to be 42 squared plus 53 squared minus, and right here, if we review back up, minus 2ab cosine of capital C. I don't know. Well, I mean, I do know what's A, what's B, and C, but A, so I'm going to have to take this angle. And then I'm going to have to put 2 times 42 times 53 times cosine of 115. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that was a car with a huge bass playing. I couldn't hear any music, but the car was shaking. So, x squared, because I'm trying to solve for x. 42 squared plus 53 squared, because a squared plus b squared. Well, in this case, it'll be c squared plus b squared. Minus 2 times c and b, 42 and 53. And then cosine of 115, because of that angle opposite of x. Right? Because 115 is being projected onto x, so I'd use that 115. Because this length is always going to have the angle opposite of it. I don't want to say corresponding because that's in geometry, but it's angle that's being projected outwards and to create x. So we can do this in many different number of ways. Let's just multiply everything out. X squared equals, what's 42 squared? I know, I can't hear you. I wish I could, then I wouldn't have to type it on my calculator, because you guys would have done it for me. One of these days, I'll hear you through the camera. And then 2 times 42 times 53. $44, 52 times cosine of 115. So I can square root that thing, or I can simplify it even further. And I'm going to simplify it even further because I don't want to get confused. Yes, teachers can get confused as well. It happens every now and then. For me, more than others. I usually jump ahead by 3 steps. Which is all right. And then I got 0.50. Plug it in, take the square root of that. X equals 80.34. Now, some of you guys might be asking, why isn't it plus or minus 80.34? Because I can't have a negative distance. So there's no reason for me to put the negative answer of this. It makes no sense. I've never seen a side of a triangle that's negative something. All right, on to example B. And like in the last video, I'm going to pause. If you want to do it on your own, go ahead. Pause the video, because my pauses will not give you enough time to do it. All right, let's go. Assuming that you've already done this, you guys are going to still try to scream the answers to me. It's okay. All right, so this time we're missing x. And what is x? X is the angle. So now we got to figure out what's going to be on the outside, what's going to be on the what's going to be on the isolated, on the left-hand side of the equal sign, and what's going to be on the right-hand side of the equal sign, right? So we know that the left-hand side has to equal what angle measure that's opposite of it. So what's opposite of x, angle x? I see 19. So I'm going to put 19 squared equals 17 squared plus 23 squared. Order doesn't matter for this. Forgot to mention on the last one. Minus 2. Wait. I forgot to do one thing. Highlight my answer so you guys know that this is the final answer. Right there. That right there. If you guys were here, you guys would have reminded me, but I'm on my own. All by myself. Just kidding. I don't cry. Just kidding. All right, let's go. You guys might see me descend into madness on this one, but it's okay. So I put 17 and 23 because 17 and 23 are on the right-hand side. So whatever is here, A and B from the formula are going to be 17 and 23. And the triangle's already labeled, and it is A and B. So A 23 and B is 17. So put in A and B side lengths, and then we're going to have to put C, because C is already out here. Cosine, but we don't know what C is. So we're going to put cosine of X. All right, let's get started. I'm going to, hope you guys can see that. No, let me lift it up a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to plug them all into my calculator and write them down. 361 equals 17 squared, which is 289, plus 23 squared, which is 529, minus 2 times 17 times 23, which equals 782, times cosine of X. Right? Easy. So, because we have a negative here, that's multiplied by the cosine of X, what do you think is going to be on the left-hand side? Give you a moment. Answer to yourselves. Yes, you are crazy because you're talking to yourself. So am I, so guess we're in this together. Alright. So if I get 360... Oh, I forgot to answer my own question. 361 on the left-hand side, if I subtract 289 and 529, it will be negative because negatives have to cancel because I can't have a negative angle. No such thing. Minus 529. Negative 457 equals negative 72 times cosine of X. It's divided by negative 72. Negative 782 cancels out. And I could just do negative 457 divided by negative 782. And I get 0.5844 equals cosine of X. We've seen this before. We know how to get rid of, we know how to isolate X. We just have to take the inverse of both sides. And when you are trying to find the angle, leave it to 4 decimal places. I don't know if I made that clear in the last one, in the last lesson, but leave it to 4 because you will get your most accurate answer. You can leave your answer, such as here, 2, and you can even simplify when square rooting it to 2, but because you're taking the inverse cosine, there's such a huge margin of error if you just left it as 0.58. You might get like 2 or 3 degrees off, which is huge, instead of maybe 0.01 or 0.02 off. We want to minimize any rounding errors. Not necessarily that you did it wrong, but you didn't take it to enough places. And then X equals, I'll write it this time, of 0.5844. And then when I plug it into my calculator, you will get perfect, 54.24 degrees. I'm going to leave it in 2 decimal places. Get my trusty highlighter out to highlight my answer. Look at that. we're done. That's it. That's all you have to do for law of cosines. There is a C and D. I'm going to go through that, but don't get bogged down. It's going to look a little different, but you can do this. Here is C. Oh no, we don't have a triangle, but that's okay. You guys know how to draw one. Please don't make fun of my triangle. I'm begging you. I'm just kidding. Make fun of it all you want, because I can't hear you. Wow. When I practiced this, it looked much worse. So I'm gonna longest side 7, next shortest side 6, and then 5. That looks like a question mark. Here we go. 7. Right, so 7, A, 6 is B, 5 is C. So I've created my triangle ABC, and look, we want to find the measure of angle B. So I'm going to write in a little x right there. I'm hoping that if you guys wanted to do this on your own, that you've already paused it before I started talking. I forgot to pause, but I'm assuming you guys have already done that. So I created my triangle. I'm good to go. I can solve it. Do I know the formula? Yes. Yes, I do. 6 squared equals, because whatever is opposite, 7 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times, oh look, it's right there, 7 and 5. And then cosine of whatever's opposite of the 6, the angle opposite of 6, which is x. All right, I'm gonna do what I did last time. I'm gonna solve, I'm gonna reduce where I can. So 6 times 6, I don't even need a calculator. 36 plus 49 plus 25 minus, okay, 14 times 5, which I really didn't need. But I did anyways, because I make mistakes when I do it in my head. And look at that. Those two side lengths are gonna, when we subtract them over, 36 is gonna come out negative again, and giving us a positive angle. So we know we're on the right track. 36 minus 49 minus 25. And once again, you could do it any way you like. You could take whatever steps as long as you follow PEMDAS. You're good to go. You don't have to do it my way. I like my way. Divide both sides by negative 70. Eventually, we'll both be doing the steps, whichever way you took. Cosine of x equals, and then I'm going to plug it in right in my calculator. Negative 38 divided by negative 70. If I could do this in my head. 0.5429. So it is very, very similar to, to part B, 5844. So it should be around 54 degrees. But I'm assuming it's going to be different. It's going to be much, it should be a little different. So that's the way I'm going to plug it into the calculator. Cosine inverse, 0.5429. Yep. See how if you're off by a few decimal places, you can get such drastic answers? It was 54 degrees, but here, because it was off by 0.2, I got 57 degrees. That's a 3-degree difference. Degree symbol. And then, my trusty highlighter. Show you guys that I've finished. All right, let's do the next one. Let's do it So, many of you guys are like, well, we could split it down the middle and take, you know, AB and FA and solve for it that way. Wrong. If we split it down the middle, we don't know what that side length or this side length is. We're just wasting our time. But we do have 15 centimeters and we do have 120 degrees angle. So I'll just draw it right on here. I hope you guys can see it. 120 and then 15 and 15. So then we just got to find FB, total distance of FB. So that's going to be our C. So you can label it C, X, B, Q, R, even A, because it's across from A. So I'll do that. A squared equals 15 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times, yep, you guessed it, 15. Oh, I think I'm beginning to hear you guys. Oh man, it just took to example D. Cosine 120, yep. Hear you guys screaming right through it. Right through the camera. All right. All I have to do, solve for each one. Combine them, combine everything. I could do that in one go, but I'm not going to because I want to show you the steps, just in case you guys are still having difficulties with it. So 2 times 15 times 15. Whoops. Get 450 cosine of 120 degrees. And that looks like 1200. So before I square root the whole thing like that, I'm going to combine them even further until I get one number. So 225 plus 225, 450, minus, that's strange, came out to exactly the same thing, which is fine. So I get a negative 225. So then I would have to add 450 plus 225, because plus and plus. Sorry if you couldn't see it. Why is my phone? There we go. Perfect. Plus 2, which would give you 675. Take the square root, A equals 25.98 centimeters, because we have a unit. All right, I can hear you guys. Some of you guys are saying negative 25.98. Once again, cannot have a negative distance. All right, well, that's it on law of cosines. Here is the formula once again. Hopefully you understand how to use it through the triangle. I'm hoping that you guys, whoops, yep, you guys got me. Let's highlight our answer. Perfect. All right, back to what I was saying. Hopefully you'll take time to practice these before I showed you. I am hoping that's what some of you guys did. I know some of you get a lot of help from me going through it step by step. So do whatever works for you. You don't have to do what I'm doing step by step. If there's an easier way that you want to condense the problem or combine, addition, doing this part and doing these ones, do it. You don't have to do it this way. And I'm done. I have nothing more to show you guys for this lesson. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.